Hello and welcome to another week of Go Ballistic here on the Scottish Sun Sports YouTube channel. Now, up there you'll see something a bit new. That is the countdown to Kris Boyd. He is very much on the way, but of course, plenty of excitement to come before we get there in the form of Mr. Roger Hannah. And speaking of excitement, Scottish Cup quarter-final weekend, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hearts, all through. Celtic seen off Hibs yesterday, fairly routine for them.
Yeah, I think it was routine. I think it was routine for the three home teams, if you like. You know, Celtic, they're never going to have a harder game against Hibs. 15 games unbeaten in all competitions. Back with 7,000 away fans, biggest away support at Celtic Park for about 7
Very
years,
impressive,
I think. And they had to work hard for it. Daizen Maeda, 27th of the season. It was only really into stoppage time when Adam Ida get the second to put the game to bed. But they will be heavy favourites. The draws later on tonight. Everyone will want to avoid Brendan Rodgers' team as they go for the treble. And same with Aberdeen and Hearts. Aberdeen put away Queen's Park, something Rangers couldn't do in the last round. They looked back to the sort of form that they had during that really good run early on. It looks as if there's goals in the team. Shaden Morris, terrific, out wide and the right. Kevin Nisbet, Odi Daba getting among the goals. And you're right the way back to Hearts. They were really good against Dundee in spells. And in Sander Kartum, they look as if they've found a real quality midfielder.
A couple of cracking goals from
him
there.
Really well.
I think maybe the only player individual that stole his thunder at the weekend across the games was Daizen Maeda, who is certainly, you know, what a few months he's having in particular. He's a player that Celtic fans quickly took to, but there was maybe sometimes that bit of frustration about some of his end product, both goals and, you know, his crosses coming in. But my goodness, what are you making of him? As you said, 27 goals, an incredible run of form he's on at the moment.
I think he'll be favoured to be Player of the Year when the awards are handed out in May. He has picked up where Kyogo Furuhashi left off, really. It's funny how these sliding doors moments, Kyogo goes to Rennes for big money, £10 million, and it hasn't really worked for him in France so far. But Maeda has just moved inside. When Brendan Rodgers, I think, always fancied him in that central role. He tried him his first pre-season when he came back. It was a role he fulfilled to great effect in Yokohama before Ange Postecoglou signed him, and he's really picked up. And you can see now maybe why the Japanese coach preferred Maeda to Kyogo for so long in the international squad.
Absolutely, and you just touched on the Player of the Year voting there, you know, for those awards not too far away from being handed out. You know, the first half of the season was very much Nicholas Kuhn's half of the season, both Celtic and the Scottish football generally. So, as you're just saying there, you now feel Maeda probably has the edge there.
I think you always find, Jonathan, footballers and journalists tend to have short memories, and the guys who have great second halves to the season and finish with a flourish tend to get the awards. And I think Maeda's probably ahead of Kuhn now in the voting.
Well, we'll see. We won't have too long to find out. I'm fastly hurtling towards the end of the season now. Obviously, as you mentioned, the Scottish Cup draws tonight. Livingston, St Johnstone playing for that last place. Celtic obviously have an eye on that, seeing who they get. But before that, small matter of the Old Firm coming up on Sunday against Rangers. Rangers, we know why they weren't playing at the weekend, obviously not involved anymore in the cup competition. Big game on Sunday, the return of away fans, a big part of that. Rangers obviously going into this free weekend. They've got the game against Fenerbahce on Thursday. Huge win in Turkey for them last week. A lot of talk now about, has Barry Ferguson thrown his hat into the ring to get a chance of becoming the permanent manager? What do you think about that as the current state of play?
Well, after 15 minutes of his first game at Kilmarnock, he wasn't getting the job. After 90 minutes he was. After the Motherwell game he wasn't. After Fenerbahce in Turkey he was. So it's another huge week for Barry. You speak about the Old Firm game, but I think Barry's focus must be on Thursday night. Jose Mourinho's in town. The tie's not dead. Of course it isn't. Fenerbahce can come back. I think Mourinho's come back 6 times before from first leg deficits to get through in Europe. He will believe he can do it again. If Barry can see off Fenerbahce, get to the last day against Athletic Bilbao or Roma, and he can get in and out of Celtic Park not having lost, then I think you can have a genuine conversation about whether Barry and his backroom staff merit a longer spell at the helm.
How do you think Rangers will be feeling about this game on Thursday generally? Because it's kind of an epitome of their strange season that for much of the first few months it was their away form that was absolutely dire. They'd have given anything to get a game at Ibrox. Now they're off the back of this incredible European result, going back to Ibrox where they haven't won in 3 matches.
Yeah, and listen, the first goal will be crucial. If Fenerbahce come and score first, the place will inevitably become anxious because they've seen what happens when Queen's Park score first, when St Mirren score first, when Motherwell score first. Both St Mirren and Motherwell had 2-0 leads, if you remember, at Ibrox. So I think it's important for Rangers. I know they want to protect the lead, but I think it's important to start on the front foot, try and take the game to Fenerbahce, because if they can get the first goal, 4-1 in aggregate, even for Mourinho, it's a long way back, Jonathan.
Well, there'll be much more on that clash between Rangers and Fenerbahce and the Old Firm game across all Scottish Sun platforms. I'm sure Bill Leckie and Robert Grieve will have plenty to look ahead to that on Wednesday in the Coffee Club, so stay tuned for that. Something else they'll definitely have their eye on as well is the Scotland squad. The next international break for the double header against Greece is just around the corner. Now, we all obviously know that Steve Clarke likes having that sort of close-knit squad. He doesn't make a lot of changes, but his hand is going to be forced a bit this time. So do you think we can expect 1 or 2 new names in the frame this time?
But interesting to see. I mean, people say he likes a settled squad, but I mean, he has played in a lot of players in the last 12 months. You know, you go back to this time last year, I hadn't really seen much of Ryan Gold or Lewis Morgan in the team. I would imagine Lewis Ferguson will come back into his thoughts. There's no Lyndon Dykes, there's no Ben Doak. Does that open the door for George Hurst from Ipswich, who Steve watched last Monday night scoring against Nottingham Forest in the Scottish Cup? Who's the third goalie? Craig Gordon will be there, Angus Gunn will be there. None of the other candidates are getting any first-team football at all. And of course at the back, Kieran Tierney, you would think would come back in. And you look at the likes of Jack Henry, Ryan Porteous, they'll probably come into contention again too. Some
big decisions to be made. Don't have long to wait to find out, obviously. Tomorrow that's happening. Now, just before we finish up this section, as you can see, the Kris Boyd countdown is getting closer to Kris Boyd. He's very much on the way. We'll give the Championship some flowers this week because, once again, an incredible season at the top end. You know, Falkirk obviously stumbled a little bit the week before against Hamilton, but now a week later have a 6-point lead. At the top, not such a good weekend for Ayr and Scott Brown though. Obviously lost to Morton, and I don't know if you saw this, the situation, the dugout towards the end, Dylan Corr flying into tackle, and the 2 managers got into it a bit, didn't they?
Well, a ridiculous challenge by Dylan Corr on Jake Hastie to start it all. Near the end, I think tensions were running high anyway, and you know what Scott Brown and Dougie Emery were like as players. They're little fellas, but they're fiery little fellas. But like yourself, Jonathan, that's why I like a wee bit of distance here when we're shooting
quite right.
Ballistic. So it wasn't surprising that they went nose to nose. Scott Brown won't be feeling great. You know, all the good work they did, coming from 2-0 down to win 3-2 at Queen's Park last midweek, it was all undone with that defeat at Capello.
I was going to say maybe nobody would fancy their chances getting in between those two, but maybe after that pep talk, maybe I could have gone in and sorted it all out. Do you think? Maybe? Yeah. What do you think?
You're a braver man than me.
No. You're all right. Just in case any of those guys are watching, no, it's not happening. Anyway, thanks very much, Roger. You're obviously going to go and speak to Kris Boyd. The countdown is getting closer, but as we always say, there is plenty of other stuff to keep across in the Scottish Sun Sports YouTube channel. Brilliant one-on-one with Derek McGregor last week, speaking to Steve Evans. Here's a little clip of what he had to say.
And I was due to sign for Bolton on the Tuesday, and on the Monday, I get in from school, and my dad said, "Oh, are you out tonight?" And when he went out, you get your ball and you go up to the garages and play. And I said, "Well, I'm going to die." He said, "Well, don't go out before 5 o'clock because Billy McNeil and John Clark are coming." And I was like, "Wow!" And John Clark I've met John Clark since. And I'd never thought in my wildest dreams that he'd have said to me, "Can you remember when we came to Westburn, me and Big Billy?" And they sat there for about 2.5 hours. And it's the only decision that I'd say in a long time, or many years, that I didn't make in terms of football, because they left and my mum went to make a pot of tea and my dad says, "What do you think?" And 1,000,000% I said, "I'll sign for Celtic." And my dad said, "Yeah, but the deal at Bolton is you get more money to just sign the forms than I can make in the next 5 years," which was true. And then you go to bed and you sleep, and so we said no to Celtic. And, yeah.
I mean, you've got 2 giants of Scottish football in your living room asking you to sign for Celtic.
Incredible.
How can you say no?
Well, I said yes. I did say no the next day, but I was. And many times when I went to Bolton and it,
Oh, so you did say yes, but then changed your mind?
no, I didn't tell Celtic yes. I told my dad yes.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
I beg your
So I
pardon.
said to mum and dad, I'll go to Celtic, and then like families do. My dad was a welder, worked all his life, worked for everything to support the family. But the financial deal from Bolton was ridiculous. It was 6 figures to sign as a kid at 15, and that's just to sign the form. And you're thinking this is bonkers, like so. And then my dad started to talk about you can buy a house and you can do this and that. You can't do that on £250 a week at Celtic, for example. So, but my love would have still said Celtic, and I said it Celtic. But I got talked around a little bit, but ultimately, mum and dad would have never made me doing that I didn't want to do. So I decided Bolton.
So we can now head down to Ayrshire Sun Sports. Kris Boyd, a man feeling the heat, the best he got in a season, 37 club goals. Daizen Maeda is only 10 away for you now, Boyd, after that goal against Hibs yesterday.
I'm claiming my 2 internationals at the end of the season as well. 39 for me, Roger.
He is doing well. He's a front runner for Football of the Year, and he got Celtic going to the semi-final of the Scottish Cup again.
Yeah, in terms of Player of the Year, if you want to go down that route, I mean, I think when you look at Nicholas Kuhn's start to the season was outstanding in numbers that he had reached, goals and assists. But you've got to say, Maeda has ran past him now, shall we say. He never seems to stop, does he? Even yesterday, 95 minutes still going. But it's not just that as well, Roger. I think he's all-round play. His whole game has just seems to have matured. He seems a lot composed in front of goal. I think we touched on it last week. He's finished against St Mirren. He's just in a really, really good place football-wise right now. And, you've got to be honest, I think we all called it that Kyogo was going to be a big miss. And I think over a period of time, Celtic will have to get a striker in. But they've not missed them one bit, have they, really? I think when you've got people like Maeda, who obviously can play there, he's went through the middle, and the numbers he's achieved, what's that, 27 for the season? It's incredible numbers. But it's not only, I think a lot of the time people get bogged down with what, goal scorers will bring to a team, but it's what else? It's everything else that Maeda brings. His work rate's incredible. He might be closing in on how many I scored in a season, but I think he's covered more ground in one game than what I did in a season.
No doubt about that, boy. Listen, we've got an Old Firm game at Celtic Park on Sunday. For so many derbies, a lot of the focus was on Maeda playing wide left and causing so many problems for James Tavernier at right back. Are we going to see a different dynamic on Sunday? Because it looks to me that Maeda will start through the middle, but Tavernier might start through the middle for Rangers as well.
Yeah, there's a good chance that might happen. I don't expect Barry to change much, on Thursday night. And I would imagine if you have to go and get a decent performance against Fenerbahce on Thursday, it will be the same lineup that goes again at Celtic Park, because I thought Rangers were excellent last Thursday, and we're looking to continue that this week. But it's going to be 2 huge games. First of all, we want to take care of Fenerbahce, then get ready for a massive game at Celtic Park. Old Firm derbies are always huge. But as you say, it'll be interesting to see how Rangers approach that, because with Fenerbahce during the week, and you would expect the exact same this week, they play with 2 strikers. There was 2 strikers. And you look at the way Celtic will play, will be the one through the middle with 2 higher. You'd imagine it'll be Kuhn and Jota, or Ida comes in and Maeda goes to a wing. So it's more, there's more, in terms of that 3v1 centrally, the Rangers fullbacks will end up getting pushed back as well. So I think there's more of I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here because there's a huge European game for Rangers on Thursday night, but there is more of, there could be more issues elsewhere in the pitch, shall we say, for Rangers if, they decide to go with that 3 at the back. Yes, it gives you that solid base to work from. But because of how high Celtic's wingers are, Rangers fullbacks or wingbacks will end up getting pushed back, and it will just become a 5 and you can't get out. So Rangers would have to be a lot braver on the ball going to Celtic Park and try and implement that and use that as an overload to try and build through the lines. But whatever happens, it's going to be a fascinating contest come next Sunday. You've got one that is probably all-out attack in Celtic, the way they play. And you'd imagine Rangers will be a little bit more cautious going into Celtic Park, and see where that takes them.
The fact that they play 8 o'clock Thursday night, Boyd, there's only about 36 hours between the Fenerbahce game and the Celtic game, whereas Celtic have a free week, since they beat Hibs yesterday, they've got a full 7 days to prepare. Is that an advantage for Brendan Rodgers?
Yeah, I'm going to phone up right now and see if the SFL or we'll change it to Monday. We'll kick it off on Monday. That'll be, it should be okay, won't it? To be fair, fixtures have been cancelled and moved in the past, haven't they? So I'm sure Rangers have got a wee bit of leeway there. They could maybe ask him to move it back 24 hours. I'm sure that would go down well.
I can't imagine that will happen for a minute. Well, Celtic, well beaten, 3-0 at Ibrox on the 2nd of January. Is that preying on a few minds at Celtic Park? Will they, yesterday you saw how determined they were to avenge the defeat to Hibs at Easter Road. Will it be the same when Rangers arrive on Sunday?
I don't think, I think Brendan Rodgers touched on it as well in terms of revenge. It's not really something that he looks at because it's over the course and distance of a season. You can lose games of football at any point of a season. Celtic obviously, won the first one comfortably enough. Rangers won the second one comfortably enough in the league we're talking about. And, Celtic will be heavy favourites going into the game on Sunday, and rightly so. I mean, they're well clear at the top of the table. Yeah. You could put their home form has been outstanding. Very rarely have they been troubled at home. I think in the league, Aberdeen's the only team to take a point off to score a goal. Yesterday we'll speak about Hibs yesterday as well. But you look at Celtic, they ain't going to change. I don't think Brendan Rodgers is going to look and say, well, that didn't work for us at Ibrox in January. So we need to mix it up and we need to do something different again. Celtic have went toe to toe with, some of the bigger guns in European football and Bayern Munich and not change the way they play. So I mean, they're definitely not going to do it for Rangers coming to Celtic Park. I mean, I don't think they would change for anybody going to Celtic Park because they feel as if it's their home. They can cause teams problems. They've shown that in the past. Yes, Rangers have caused Celtic a little, even at Hampden as well, caused them some problems. The last game against Celtic as well, Rangers started the game, and a positive foot. But listen, Celtic at Celtic Park are a different animal, and it will be a very, very difficult game for Rangers. We've seen better Rangers teams go to Celtic Park against worse Celtic teams and losing the game because that's exactly what Celtic Park can do to you. So it's going to be a big challenge for Barry Ferguson and his team to go across the city and get 3 points. But as I said, as we're doing this right now, the most important thing for Barry and his team will be that performance on Thursday night, and then he'll look to address the Old Firm.
Celtic, of course, in the heart for the Scottish Cup semi-final draw. It takes place later tonight, Monday night, after the Livingston St Johnstone game. They're already joined by Hearts, who we'll speak about in a minute, and Aberdeen, 4-1 winners against Queen's Park Saturday lunchtime. Another visit to Hampden for Jimmy Tillane. Yeah, I mean, I think for Aberdeen, they seem to have picked up again. They've got a few results, scoring goals, and were able to take care of Queen's Park. Something that Rangers should have done as well. But you look at Aberdeen. Shinnie's 600th career appearance as well, marked that with a goal. So fair play to him. You've got to say, I think for a period of time, obviously Inverness, Aberdeen, down south for a couple of seasons as well. But in terms of what players have given to Scottish football over a period of time, Shinnie will be right up there. And I can't. You always think of players in that midfield area, and he's obviously adapted as well because he's been at left back, but. To still be going at the level he's going at in and around that area where there's so much energy needed that suits him, and fair play to him. As I say, 600 games for anyone. It's not for anybody. Sorry, it's not easy to get there, but to stay and perform in the top league as well. So a credit to him, and I'm sure he'll be looking for a lot more and winning a semi-final as well. So for Aberdeen, they will watch the fans will be watching the draw tonight. Just hoping they can stay away from Celtic because Aberdeen, whoever wins tonight's game or Hearts, Aberdeen will feel as if they've got a chance of beating them. Celtic,
it's Celtic's to lose, isn't it? Really, it looks as if it's going to be another treble for Celtic, and but for Jimmy Tillene, it would be great to at least get to a final. But as I said, they would need to avoid Celtic, I would think, in that semi-final draw tonight.
You look at they do look to carry more of a goal threat. Odi Darba got a couple at the weekend. Kevin Nisbet scored a smashing opening goal. Shaden Morris, man of the match. Going forward, they look more of a threat than they did during that really poor spell that they had, boy.
Yeah, but I mean, even, I don't know, listen, we're having a laugh and a joker about it, but at the same time, though, Roger, they were still creating opportunities. The fact that Guy had been out for so long and he was a top goal scorer. Nisbet came in at the start and you felt as if, right, okay, it might be a chance for him to, kickstart his career again, because we've seen it before. He's a talented footballer. If you get him in the right positions, he'll score goals. You kind of get the feeling he was maybe just lacking that little bit of fitness, and now it seems to be he's up to speed. He's having more of an impact in the games as well. They've been able to strengthen that forward area. So for Aberdeen, they'll just be delighted that they're back scoring goals, and they're not relying on Gay, because I think, listen, he got off to a fantastic start, but I don't think he was ever going to be one that was going to get you 10 to 15 goals, or maybe even more than that could have would have got you that third place nailed on. So I think now they've got more competition in there, which can only be good for Aberdeen and Jimmy Tillene.
The cup weekend started way back on Friday night. It seems ages ago now. Hearts beating Dundee 3-1. Sander Kartum, a couple of fantastic goals, and he really does look as if he's going to be a good acquisition for Hearts.
Yeah. I mean, I think, strangely enough, though, Roger, I mean, I don't know what you thought watching the game, but he doesn't seem to get involved in a lot of it either. I mean, he seems to drift around in those little areas, then arrive in the box, and listen, he'll take part of it when he's just keeping things moving. But I don't think he's one where he's flying into tackles, he's spraying the ball, but he seems to have a great knack of arriving in the box at the perfect time, and that's a good thing to have. His finishes were excellent. I thought that there's the second one, the little poke, wasn't it, outside of the left foot?
Yeah.
It was a really tidy finish. The first one as well, just to get over it and keep it on target, keep it down well enough to get in the back of the net. So, I mean, for him, he'll be delighted. For Hearts, it's they've been on a good run. Obviously, a disappointing result against their neighbours, last weekend. But for Hearts, they've bounced back. Dundee, I mean, I know they got back into it with Shaughnessy, but with Tony Docherty right now as well, in terms of Dundee falling down that table, you're now out the Scottish Cup. You kind of get the feeling that this weekend and the next couple of weekends for Dundee are absolutely huge and critical. I thought it was going
to be two big home games for Hearts. Dundee at the weekend, Ross County this Saturday. If Hearts are to get into the top six, and it was going to be two big away games for Dundee. They've now lost at Tynecastle and go to Tannadice on Sunday afternoon. And it's crucial to get something there, boy.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think because of obviously the run they've been on in the league and not having picked up many points recently. And I don't know. I mean, if you lose a game of football anywhere, it's bad enough. But if you lose it to your rivals, then there seems to be that added pressure, and the fans will start to moan because they've not got the bragging rights of the city, and Dundee United fans will be winding Dundee fans up because of how the position they're in, and then all of a sudden that just starts to seep back into the stands at Dundee and onto the pitch, and there'll be nerves. There's no doubt about it, because from where Dundee were, and you thought they're the one who can maybe just kick on and nick that top 6 spot, but I mean that was a few weeks ago when you think the performances they put in against Rangers, Celtic, and Dundee United in the Scottish Cup. So you look at it now, and it's been pretty dreadful run they've been on, and it's getting to that stage of the season now where owners, boards, they start to get a little bit nervous, and it doesn't look as if they're going to pick up a victory. I hope they stand by Tony Dock, because he done really well last year, and you feel as if just having that know-how, understanding of the squad, it'll just be a case of him maybe getting a result, then they can kick on again, because we've seen that as well, Roger, where teams have been struggling, especially this season, where teams have been struggling, they seem to pick up a point, or they pick up a victory from somewhere, and then they kick on. and I'm sure Tony Dock's looking at it right now and saying we need this. And they've got Simon Murray as well. I mean, I know he scored an own goal on Friday night, but he can be the difference between Dundee, staying away from that relegation spot or that playoff spot. If his teammates can supply him with the chances, he'll score goals.
But the momentum down there seems to be with St Johnstone.
Yeah,
they could win tonight at Livy in the Cup. But if they beat Aberdeen at McDiarmid Park on Saturday, they could be above Dundee. Dundee might start the Tayside Derby bottom of the Premiership on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and as I said to you, you're already under enough pressure, second bottom. But to go to Tannadice, bottom of the table, wouldn't be, it'll not be something that Tony Docherty wants to happen, because there's already enough pressure on. And then everything changes to you're then trying to catch St Johnstone. You're not, trying to win a game of football to keep away from them. Listen, it's a difficult game for St Johnstone, but they have improved.
Yeah,
they have improved. They will fancy their chances of, going to Livy and get the victory there tonight as well. I think it'll be a very intriguing game. Livy have acquitted themselves well in the Championship. I think sometimes when you go down, it can be difficult. But Davy Martindale has managed to keep a few of the guys that were there last year, add to that, and they do look as if they might just come out a little bit short. That weekend there, I thought was pivotal. When you look at Falkirk winning, Ayr getting beat, Livingston obviously not playing, but what are they, both of them 6 points behind?
6 points behind Falkirk now, yeah.
6 points behind Falkirk now. So it was a big weekend. Davy Martindale full focus on the Scottish Cup right now. They'll also think that this is an opportunity to get to Hampden as well. So I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion that the Premiership team rocks up to Livingston tonight and wins the game. It'll be a good game. Looking forward to it. That's my Monday night.
Wonderful, sorted.
Monday night sorted. I'll have an iPad on, watch that, and then I'll watch the Premier League game down the road as well. Look forward to it. West Ham, Newcastle, big game.
There you go. What a night Mrs. Boyd has lined up. Absolutely terrific. Thanks again, Boyd. We'll be back. We'll speed your call on.
Roger, I'm going to ask one thing, though. I thought it was interesting at the weekend. I don't know what you thought. 7,000 Hibernian fans at Celtic Park. Out with the Old Firm. Who we saying out of, it would be Aberdeen, Hearts or Hibs? Who's got the biggest away travelling support? Interesting.
Very interesting. Who jeered you the most? Aberdeen, Hearts or Hibs fans?
I would say Aberdeen, then Hibs. I don't mind Hearts, to be fair. I've said that to you before. I mean, I think when you're creating, I had a few opportunities to go to Tynecastle, but when you look back now, and I wouldn't have minded a little, Rowe was, the Hearts number 9 for a period.
Well, listen, the Hearts number 9's a big jersey, so it would have fitted you.
And they needed 2 sewn together, unless I could be Robbo's old one. Right, I'm off, Ski. Enjoy.
Take care. Thanks, Boyd.
Bye-bye. Bye.